Bryan Sirchio, author of The 6 Marks of Progressive Christian Worship Music. The first of the 6 marks, an emphasis on praise, justice, and the fullness of human experience. Bryan, what's this one about?
You know, this one's really pretty simple. So many of the praise and worship songs that people are familiar with are sort of up-tempo, what a friend of mine often refers to as happy, clappy songs. You know, the God is great, lift up on high, everything's great. And there's nothing wrong with wonderful songs that bring us into the presence of God with joy, etc. But that's not the whole trajectory emotionally and spiritually of the spiritual journey. So it's just an invitation to make sure that there are songs that deal with other moods, other aspects of life, and to bring the whole fullness of life into our worship experience, so that it's not just all God is great. I think after a while that's like too much sugar for people. And you are a terrific creator of what I often refer to as lament songs that you get out of the Psalms. And tell your little joke about wanting to be in a certain kind of band instead of a praise and worship band.
Well, why should there be just the praise band? Why can't there be the lament band? You know, they would come out and say, "Good morning, we're the lament band." I don't know if that would go over around.
Well, maybe not every Sunday, but the point is, there are times when people are recovering from really difficult life stuff, and we just want to honor that in the music and the modes and the liturgical moments that we're creating. So, and also in addition to praising God, we want to talk about this world, making this world a better place. There's a place in worship for transforming this reality instead of escaping it or focusing on the world to come, etc. So it's just an invitation to make sure that the music gets into all of life, minor key, major key, up-tempo, and it's not about style either. That all different kinds of styles and emotional tones are evoked and invited to be a part of our worship experience. So that's really what it's about.
Talk about the fullness of human experience. When you experience, you already said there's maybe an emphasis on praise music these days. What seems to be missing for people? What topics do we need to be singing about? What themes do we need to be reminded of in worship that might not be out there?
Well, I mean, as we just said, I mean, being honest about the extent to which we ourselves are not where we want or need to be sometimes in our lives, to be able to grieve that, to be able to own that, to be able to mourn that, to be able to deal with the fact that the world often seems so overwhelmingly broken and messed up, and to be able to name that, so that we can not just stay there and wallow in it, but then hear some words of good news and hope, and hopefully move towards transformation. But in many ways, real life is not all upbeat joy and happy, and that's really what I'm saying. Is let's get real in the context of worship and have some music that helps us do that.
It occurs to me sometimes we talk about imagination in worship. Now, maybe what comes up for me when you say that, if we emphasize just the praise, as if we're pretending that the rest of life is, not there, that we don't have things that are going wrong or grieving or having troubled times, then that imagination, we're forced to pretend.
Yeah.
Forced to pretend that, pretend that our lives don't have any bumps on the road, or we pretend that God isn't interested in those things, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not that praise isn't important. I mean, I'm a big proponent. I mean, both of us write plenty of praise songs, and sometimes it's in the act of praising that we get taken out of a preoccupation with our own problems, etc. But I want to be able to own the problem first. I want to be able to be honest and real about where I am or where I'm not, or where the world is, and not pretend that everything's fine as we, enter into our worship experience. And if someone has just lost a loved one or experienced an intense tragedy, there may be no moment in the entire worship service where they're just emotionally ready to get happy clappy. They just may need a service that's kind of minor key and gentle, and giving them some space to just be where they are. Now, you can't be all things to all people in every service, but again, it's about just trying as much as possible to open up the breadth of this whole thing and let all of life come into worship.
I'm imagining, leaving a worship service like that, I would maybe have touched the whole range of experience. I would have visited places of great gratitude and joy, but also be reminded that There's plenty of people grieving, maybe myself, but others, and maybe in touch
Yeah.
with the world's suffering also.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, even if you're in a great place yourself, to be reminded, okay, not everyone is, and what's our connection to them, and to be reminded of our call to reach out to those who are hurting and suffering, and to be in solidarity with them. I mean, all of that is this. So it's not complicated. This first mark, it's just reminding us that instead of just praise and worship, it's the fullness of life and social justice and making the world a better place. All of that belongs in worship songs.
Really important. Thanks, Bryan.
Dream God's dream. Holy Spirit, help us dream of a world where there is justice and where everyone is free to build and grow and love and to sing